happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in to radiofreerhinecliff.org and this program. Correct me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norm. And I'm so thrilled, maybe even a little bit nervous to have my guest here tonight. It's Guillermo Fesser, who I was telling people about this show this week. I said, Guillermo is probably the most famous person I've ever met. And can you explain to people at home? I don't, probably not wrong. I have met super famous people.
You never met Santa Claus?
But you had a radio show for like 15 years in Spain.
Yeah.
And as I was telling people about it this week, I said he was like, the Howard Stern of Spain. He was that level of fame.
Well, I was very fortunate because I was born in 1960. So when Franco, a dictator, a guy who ran the country horribly for 4 years, died, it was 1975. I was 15.
Right.
And suddenly, everybody who was with Franco in their 40s or their late 30s disappeared. So a generation of people who were supposed to be in power were like, no, man, we don't want you here. Some for the right reasons, some just happened to be there. Unfortunately, they went with a group. So everybody who was under 30 was welcome to take over the whole country. So I went, to forward 10 years later, I'm getting out of the university, and we make a lot of fun. A group of friends in the university, we like to tease each other all the time, and humor was our way of going, through life and getting girls. Because
Sure.
I wasn't like the handsome guy who have muscles or a quick whatever. So, anyways, humor was our thing, and we brought humor to the radio. And when I say we were humor to the radio, is we told the news. We were journalists. I graduated as a journalist. I wanted to be a journalist, and my friend who graduated with me too. But we wanted to have fun at the same time and I still maintain this idea. I think there's two things in life. One is having fun. One is learning something. You only learn. You feel so sorry for yourself. I'm learning. I'm here. I'm not having fun.
Right.
You only have fun. You feel like I'm mortified. Oh my God, I'm a lazy motherfucker. What I'm doing with my life. But if you're learning and having fun at the same time, is bingo.
That's it. And for me, anyway, that started to happen much later on in life. When I was a student, I'm like, whatever, I'll do just enough to get by. But as I grew older, the curiosity kept growing, and the learning was really delightful.
So what I finished, I got lucky because the country was so serious. So under Franco, everything was, big censorship. You couldn't smile. You couldn't do anything but pray and just be quiet and be very right-wing. Otherwise, your life will be jeopardized. Suddenly, fresh air of somebody telling things in a low key, of people talking to you from a media as if they were talking to you in a bar, was really welcome. So when we started on the air, we were given an opportunity that nobody wanted, 2:00 in the morning, Saturday nights, for 2 hours. And nobody wanted that because the radio in Spain till 78 ended at 12 o'clock at midnight. Midnight, every radio was the national hymn. For 12 hours till 8 o'clock in the morning. So every single star on the radio in that moment is like, working at night? No, thank you.
Right.
So, and 2 o'clock at night, or in the morning, whenever you want to call it, is too late in this country, too early in Spain. Depends how you approach that.
So how did you and this opportunity come together? You said you were given the opportunity.
Well, we came out of the university, and new medias were starting to flourish.
We being you?
My partner, Juan Luis, and I, who created the show. And we were 21. New opportunities were creating. Old media was being closed, pro-Franco stuff. New media was starting with nobody knowing what was going to happen. And our country was very chaotic at the time, but with a lot of hope and a lot of illusion and many things. And some of these new media wanted to fill the gaps of, the night gaps. And the old media, to survive, wanted to fill the night gaps. And the only people who were willing to, fill those gaps were very young people who, I'll take whatever.
Right.
So we took whatever, we took that. But 6 months later, we almost have 500,000 people listening because guess what? Spain is a very late night country.
Right.
And we start getting calls from owners of discos in the coast of Spain saying, "Who are you? I mean, people are dancing here, and 2 o'clock in the morning they leave the disco and they go to the cars to listen to you guys. He said, can you do the show a different hour?" I said, "Can you play my show in your disco? Maybe they'll stay there."
And so was the format of your show always the same? It sounds like you played some music.
It was very different. At the beginning, was very surreal humor, just making fun of politics and everything in life. More social than politics,
A
actually.
little like The Daily Show, in a way.
Like a Daily Show in a way. And then we have a double life. I was like, in that show, I was like really funny and wild. And then daytime, I have to be a journalist and go and interview for a news radio show, a conventional show, the Secretary of Defense. So, and one day we woke up and said, you know what? Why don't we do it? Mix it together, and we go and interview the Secretary of Defense the way we do a show at night.
Right.
And many radios thought we were crazy, except for a puny radio that decided, okay, well, I'll give it a chance, and then the whole thing started.
So the interviews was you with a portable tape recorder, I'm guessing, and a couple of microphones. Mm-hmm. And that was
it was a big at the time we still have like open, I mean it was
like
one
a
of the
reel-to-reel kind of.
Oh yeah, a Philips with a big
Right.
eye that was blinking, and yeah, we have to learn. A Revox was, I think, at the time, and we had to learn how to edit with that. And so we record that, and then actually the actual tape we have to cut it, we have to chop it.
Right.
It was an art.
And you all did all that too.
Yeah, we have to learn to do that.
And what were some of the biggest mistakes you made as kids doing this show?
Oh, God knows. I don't know. But
Yeah.
you know what? The biggest mistakes are the best stuff that happened in our show because
Okay.
people thought, oh, my God, these guys are real. I'm telling you, forward, like 10 years later, we were already big. But we go to London to interview Tom Jones. And their technician said, "Hey man, it's really bad. I cannot make it. I don't know what happened." I said, "Don't worry. I'll tell people that you went, and I'll tape it for you. Don't worry." I mean, at that time it was play record. It was idiot proof.
Right.
So we go there with Tom Jones. We're supposed to have a 10 minutes interview in a private club. We start having fun. The guy doesn't want to leave. My partner sings really well. Starts singing. Tom Jones say, "Oh, I want to sing with you." We spent an hour and a half. It was amazing, that show. And I was looking at the needle. The needle was moving, no problem.
Right.
Only when we were in the plane, I realized that I didn't take the pause out. So the needle was moving, but the tape didn't move an inch. So, but because of that, we have like 2 months of a show making fun of ourselves, how stupid we were, not
Right.
taping, and how great it could have been for the audience. That it was worth it. And then actually, Tom Jones was very nice. And for some reason, the company told him whatever. And he called us up and said, "Hey, next time I'm in Madrid singing, I'll be there." And he came and he sang in a show, and it was magnificent. So
That's wonderful.
Anytime we've been really make mistakes, it's been really fun.
That's great. And so it lasted like 15 years. And how did it end? Or why did it end?
It ended twice actually. First, it was 20 years. The first goodbye, the real goodbye, was in 2002. In 2002. That was after 20 years. We started in 92, 2002. So after 20 years. And it ended up because I decided that I wanted to come to the States. My wife that I met in Spain was my English teacher, was from Rhinebeck.
Oh, nice.
And my kids were growing. And we decided somehow that, I was in a very good spot for my career, but I figured out that that was it. I could enjoy it 1 year more, 3, 4, 50, whatever, but that was it. And what about exploring a different world? And what about exposing my kids to their 50% of their owns? Because they were half American, half Spanish. But they didn't know much about America except for the summers coming here. But that's not the reality. So I wanted them to come here, know their family, know their friends, know what do you do in America when you're depressed, and know what you do in America when you want to have fun.
Right.
And all that story.
It's 3 kids. They were all born in Spain?
3 kids. They grew up in Spain. So when it was high school time for the oldest, we decided to move here, and we did it. We were here before a couple of times in sabbaticals and stuff, but we decided to do that for good. And then I came back. I spent another 2 years, and finally came back. So it's been like back and forth. But it's been all good.
Right. And have any of them gone and lived in Spain?
No. After that, I've been here. It's funny because whenever it's convenient, they're from Spain. You know, if Nadal is playing tennis, they're from Spain. Or
Yeah.
if some cultural stuff of drinking wine and the drinking, when we start drinking, and I have a theory about drinking countries, the countries of wine and the countries of beer. I think is very different.
But let's hear the theory.
Well, I believe that pretty much there's these two countries, right? In Europe, you can see very easily on the map. The South, grapes, work there, so people make wine. When you want something a little more sophisticated with the wine, you become, you go through a process, and what you have is cognac, right?
Right.
In London or in England or in Scotland or in Germany, they have wheat. They don't have grapes, so they have beer. And when they want to get something a little more elevated, they come out with whiskey.
Right.
So the way you drink these two things is very different. Wine you drink during the meals.
Yeah.
You enjoy it. So you learn to drink without getting drunk. You learn to drink in a social thing. Drinking is a social thing, like having a cigarette with your friends or like having a conversation is a social thing.
Right.
While you go north in Europe, and drinking is something to get all excited, and then you go to Sheffield, England, to a disco, and the guy push you, and they're ready to, start a fight for nothing.
Yeah.
And so I believe the countries who grow up with wine, they know how to drink, and they use drink in a much more interesting, elegant way. And it's not their fault, but I think that's the way it is.
It's great. And I'd just like to say for all of our listeners in England, his views do not express the views of the station here. So you've been here like 16 years this time around or something.
Yeah.
And when you got here, you left the station. What creative outlets did you have, or did you feel like you wanted to explore?
Well, it's it wasn't easy. I mean, it was a personal decision, and I'm really happy, and I was always very happy about it. But professional was very tough because pretty much my tool is the language.
Right.
And my language is Spanish.
Right.
So I don't speak English. I don't start to speak English the way I speak Spanish, especially in the field of humor that, every subtle thing is so important.
Right.
And here my English is more basic. It's more like, you're hearing it. Plus, I don't have certainly an accent in my language. I have an accent here. I mean, many reasons that will make very difficult to, keep on my natural career here. So I decided to go into writing that I've tried before in Spain, and forget about talking so much. So I wrote a book, 100 Miles from Manhattan, about the experience that I had a previous time when the kids were little, and we came here for a sabbatical.
Read that book, loved it.
Thank you.
And did you write that in English or in Spanish, then translate?
I wrote that in Spanish and then translated. Okay. I think my level of English is good enough to edit. So if I write in English and you translate it for me and then you give it to me, I'll be able to edit and make it more way. Because funny ways I'm doing work here in this country and publishing stuff, I realize that translating is a very difficult tool. It's a skill that, if you see somebody who actually is a good translator, just go ahead and give her a hug, man, because it's amazing. This service is such a... Yeah, because most people think, really. Yeah, it's an art. You have to know two cultures. It's not like llueve, it rains. No, because I may write a joke in Spanish that doesn't make any sense in English.
Right.
And you have to understand why I wrote this joke. What do I want the reader to feel when they read the joke, and come up with something that makes the reader to feel exactly that way. I don't care if it's a joke or in this country's drama. If I talk about an elephant, you talk about a sheep. I don't care. Right. But make sure that the reaction is the same. And it's so difficult. You have to understand so well both cultures.
So who did the initial translation of the book, 100 Miles from Manhattan, for
you?
It
was an American writer that I know that she lives in Peru, and she's been done stuff for people like Vargas Llosa, and amazing. But she did it as a friend.
Okay.
But again, when the book came back to me, surprisingly enough, I realized that some of the stuff wasn't what I was intended to say.
Sure.
So that's why when I have to, go ahead and edit.
Was there any thought? You moved here with your English teacher, Sarah. Was there any thought that she would do the initial translation for you?
No, she doesn't like doing that. Okay. That's not her forte. She's great with the people.
Her closeness to you, I would think, just a thought, would probably result in a pretty good translation, understanding where you're coming from, what you meant.
Yeah, but
how
in,
you
but in
speak.
terms of writing as a writer, because one thing is translating for United Nations. He said that exactly the
Yeah.
problem with Ukraine right now,
Wait,
and the
is
other
this
thing,
your American accent you're
and
doing
the
right
other
now?
thing is
Yeah.
translating as a poet. You know what I mean? You have to have the grammar, you have to have the writing in you to translate another writer.
Yeah. Either way, I do think it's an art form. So let me ask this: we're exactly the same age. You were born in May 1960, I think.
Yeah.
I'm 3 months older than you.
Okay.
So I grew up here in the U.S. and we had Mad Magazine, and we had comic books like Archie's. I read all the funny comic books, and then there was Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner cartoons.
Yeah.
And when I think about my sense of humor, such as it is, I can really point to those influences. What were your influences in that realm? Growing up in Spain, where did kids growing up in Spain, your age, learn humor?
Well, we have that's interesting. We have similar sources to you in a way, because in the television in Spain, some local programs were there, but mostly everything was American. So the Toonie Tunes, the cartoons, Bugs Bunny was there for me. The same thing. Many movies, Bonanza, all the TV series were the same. So that's one thing. The other thing is Spain has a very surreal tradition of humor. So there were a lot of I learned mostly through writers who stopped writing, who were there before the Civil War. Civil War was 36. So 1936, every single writer, great writer that we have in Spain, left the country. A lot of them end up in American universities teaching Spanish or literature, and a lot of them end up in Hollywood writing scripts of those phenomenal 50s movies. But that was a generation that was unbelievable. So I didn't see that in the Franco time because it was not there. But somehow I believe that they made such an input in the culture.
Right.
That I don't know exactly if they stay in the bakery I used to go to bread, or they stay in school and some teacher's soul that passed to me. So what I'm saying is I didn't see them the way I can see Charles Chaplin and learn something from the TV. I never saw them. Right. I read them when I was older. But when I read them, I say, of course. I mean, I understand that. That's my thing. It's been there. I mean, I don't in comments on the street, in a way, in a glance of some person in a corner. I mean, it's in that culture. Franco hasn't been able to kill that. He's still here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. So you've been here a long time. You interact primarily, I'm guessing, in English with Americans who probably don't speak another language, because most of us don't.
Mostly, yeah.
What things come up over and over again as being frustrating? Like, well, this is something everybody in Spain would get, and I can't make anybody in the U.S. understand it. Actually, think on that for a second. I'm just going to describe what's going on here. Guillermo is filling up some beautiful glasses with ice. Prior to that, you put in some mint leaves.
Yeah.
And some rum, which looks really, really good. Florida Caña. And what are you making?
That's a mojito, and I like mojito for several questions. One is because I love it. I think it's a great combination of lime with mint and with rum, and a little bit of club soda. But I like it because I like the history of the drink too. It's a drink that was born in Cuba. Cuba is something that Spain and Cuba have been always very close. People think of 1988 when it was the American-Spanish War, unfortunately, and we lost Cuba. Okay, Spain lost the colony. No, think of if there's a war right now and the United States lose Hawaii. That's not a colony.
Right.
Officially it's a colony because Hawaii was a sovereign state that was invaded by the United States. They had a king at the time, had a treaty with many countries, whatever, invaded, took over, forget about that. But anyways, what I'm saying, to realize how painful was, the separation between Cuba and Spain, and how intrinsically, the culture are together. Anyways, that's a drink from Cuba, a place that I love. I don't support the government right now, but I love the people of Cuba. I love the culture of Cuba. I love the music of Cuba.
Right.
So many things. But the funny thing is, Cuba was like every other country in America, was a door for immigration. So people from Lebanon came there. The Cubans have the sugar from the sugar cane.
Right.
The Cubans have the rum from the cane too.
From the sugar cane, yeah.
Exactly. And the Lebanese brought the tradition of the tea, the mint tea. So they brought the mint. And instead of and the idea of putting some lemon with the tea and with the mint. So the Cuban and the Lebanese, have interchange of culture, and they remove the tea and put the rum in there, and you have the Arab mint tea, introducing alcohol and with a club soda, and I think it's phenomenal. It's refreshing. It's great. It's fun.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And now Guillermo's got a contraption here. I love these things. To squeeze some lime into these glasses.
Yeah, you can have, of course, one of those prepared juice, whatever, but I don't like them. I mean, nothing better than a...
Yeah, they're not that good. They never really taste like fresh lime juice.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
So,
my mouth just started watering. This looks so good. So think over. I wouldn't mind going back to that question before I stop to describe what you're doing. Things that you found that just don't translate. Things that you sort of, since you've been here, that you're like, geez, everybody in Spain would understand what I'm talking about, and I can't make.
I mean, there's a lot
here.
of cultural thing that it could be funny, ha ha ha. Like, for example, in Spanish, guy will never have a meal with a glass of milk. It's like, you guys, you're crazy. You have a steak with a glass of milk. Yes, Americans do that. I've seen that. In Spain, you'll never do that.
Yeah.
An American will think that Spanish are crazy because they use cologne with the babies, and the baby has the most beautiful smell, natural smell. Why are you gonna, just put cologne on top of the baby? Well, as soon as the baby's out of the mother, we put cologne on top, and that's
wow.
And every baby smells like cologne in Spain. So the culturally stuff, I mean, you're gonna find a lot of things. And it's gonna be fun, but unfortunately, the things that are more surprising for me are the things that I assumed this country was about and is not about anymore.
Right.
Universal healthcare. How can anybody, any person in the planet don't understand that it's good for everybody? How's that? Having machine guns on the open and accessible to people. How can you? I mean, that stuff that in Spain is like, what? No, you're kidding. No, man, I'm not kidding. So that, unfortunately, those are the things that I'm in shock, and I don't understand when I have conversation with people because they assume, you know what? I think because people in this country, I'm gonna finish this thing because it's so long and we need 50 shows but fake news. People think fake news is a new thing. No, man, fake news is possible. I mean, Trump has abused the system, but it's possible. This country has believed every single thing that has been told in the last 50 years. Because this country, you've been told since day one that you're number one, you're the best, and you're so happy being that. So you won't question that.
Right.
And nobody questioned anything, and a lot of fake news have been there, and nobody thought they were fake. And now it's so obvious that they're fake, thank God. But what I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of things in this country that my brother once told me, the United States is not a country, it's an amusement park for grown-ups. They want to have popcorn, but I mean, not like a baby. They want to have, a bucket of popcorn, and they want to have everything like, 50 burgers and this and that. They want to have everything.
Yeah, sure.
But there's no systems about what a country is about. What I think that's the principle of this country, but I mean, it's been removed far away.
Yeah. Well, I think most other sort of democracies, most other countries don't have this sort of system of lobbyists that we do here. I mean, it's just sort of laughable. You're like, oh, why don't we have universal health care? Why do people all have guns? Well, the lobbyists are so powerful and bring so much money into the electoral system.
Yeah, we had it in every country, but we call it corruption. You guys call it lobbying here. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. So you brought up your brother. Do you have other siblings? I know you have.
I'm one of 9.
One of 9.
My mom is 99 right now, so we're pre-gaming for the 100th anniversary, hopefully.
Pre-gaming. When's your birthday?
Well, it just went to a couple of weeks ago. So now we're like preparing the 100th celebration. Let's see if she makes it or not. Anyways, it's fun. We're celebrating so far. But I'm saying that her close net is 70 individuals. I mean, she's got 9 kids with spouses, with kids, with grandchildren, with great-grandchildren.
Nuts.
So that 17 great-grandchildren is about to come next month.
And she lives in Madrid still?
She lives in Madrid, and she's still in good shape. God bless her, and still having parties for people and having a lot of visitors around, and
Right.
so far so good.
All right, so now back to the drink. I'm getting so thirsty. You're pouring some club soda on top of this.
Yeah, well, we needed some maybe
did-
more ice, but
Where
anyway,
did where did that come from? The Lebanese or the Spanish or?
the club soda?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's an American touch because this thing came out in the 40s, 50s, and you've seen the Godfather.
Yeah.
So so that was Havana was taken by Americans, and all the drinks, Americans drinks were there, and club soda and the whiskey and stuff was there. So maybe
right.
so maybe that's the American edition. Maybe
Whiskey
it's the
and soda.
Spanish, the Lebanese, and the
Well, cheers.
Cheers,
Let's do
yeah.
this in front of the
Yeah.
mic so we can
Whoops.
get a good
For
sound
your show.
effect for the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And what do you say in Spain before you drink? Just sort of a casual
Chin chin.
chin chin. Is there a translation for that?
No, is the sound of the glasses. Chin chin.
Chin chin. It's funny. Well, this is delicious. It's a lot less sweet than I usually have them served to me here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I think the U.S. palate is sort of wants sweetness all the time.
Well, that's another thing about. Before I'm very negative and keep going, I'm saying that I'm really optimistic about this country because I see for the first time in many years that the people who have common sense are more than the people who don't.
Where do you see this? Point to
On
some-
the street, the young, the crowds, the young, our kids. I mean, they're the generation, most open-minded generation. I mean, they're much more open-minded than I am. They have much more common sense, and they understand that it's not about having it; it's about having access to. And that changed the whole game because this country was about having access to. Bring everybody to Miss Liberty. I'll give you access to healthcare. I'll give you access to food. I'll give you access to. It's not like it was Santa Claus giving a sandwich and a banana to the immigrants. It was giving the opportunity to work and make a better life. That end up. Think about that. The country the America that I was dreaming to come to was the America that in the 60s. Was putting a man in the moon. And when I said the America that was putting a man in the moon is because the whole country was putting a man in the moon. Even the guy who was mowing the lawn next to the launch pad, when a guy from CBS interviewed him before the Apollo went up, said, "Man, what are you doing?" He said, "What I'm doing, sir, I'm helping to put a man in the moon." That's what he was doing. That was a country.
Right.
And think of the country today with everybody's here doing, whatever, and 2 billionaires are planning to go to the moon in their private.
Then
It's not so exciting, right? It's not so. It's a very different picture.
Right. It's been polarized and splintered for profit and political gain, and there haven't been any great unifying things. Like, I mean, everybody was interested in putting a man in.
Yeah, but there's hope. I mean, 24% of the child poverty is down with all the package of help is working in the U.S. I mean, there's numbers. I mean, and there's policies. People can be scared and say, "Oh my God, universal health care is communism, is this that?" Okay, words. Okay, you can say that, Mr. Texas Senator, whatever your name is, Ted Cruz, but and people can believe that. But then Obama implemented the law, and then nobody wants to go backwards because they understand that it's not true.
Most don't.
Exactly. Well, I'm telling you, they have 4 years of free ride, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because their own constituents will say, "Hey, you know what? I don't want to pay the bill of my daughter who's got cancer, and thank you very much, Obamacare." So when you see the facts, it's very difficult to go, So this country's been a lot about narrative and legends and whatever.
Right.
I think for the first time in many years, it's about seeing reality, and that's what I have hope.
Well, cheers. Here's to you. I love that you have hope.
Yeah.
I actually, one of the things that's given me hope lately is people forming unions. And this week, some Starbucks workers somewhere
In Buffalo, yeah.
formed a union, and Kellogg's people are on strike for more. The IATSE, the filmmaking union, threatened to strike, and they got their demands. And I
Well,
think,
look at the people leaving the jobs like crazy. 4.2 people left their job in October. I have this conversation with friends, another conversation I have to have. Oh, yeah, no, people are so lazy because the government is paying them, and now they don't want to work because it's lazy, it's communist. And I say, wait a minute. For the first time in many years, those people have been paid fairly. Because you want to live with $12 an hour? You want to live with $14 an hour? You want to work in these
$10 an hour?
ugly places, stinky places, horrible places that they have to work, and the hours they have to work? No, for the first time, they have a little pillow of comfort. Instead of being 2 weeks from homeless, to be homeless, that everybody's 2 payrolls from being a homeless in this country. Suddenly those people are 10 weeks, and they have the leverage, the power to say, no, I'm going to think about it. Guess what? Starting January, the wages are going to go an average of 5%, unheard of. So there's been a little fight here, but it's working. There's hope. Things are happening. People are going to be better paid in January than they were in the last 20 years. It's unbelievable. If only that.
well, I'm not going to wait. I hope you're right. I'd love to see things shift here in America and out of sort of the polarized place where we've come and into a more unified place. And my hope is that unity will come from the workers, from the people, the kids, the young people, saying, you know what, we shouldn't be buying into this system that's enslaving us and enriching just these other people. So,
Well, in the movies that the short movies we're talking before about the 3 short movies that I've done with my brother, and one that we're gonna show here in Upstate Films in Rhinebeck on Sunday, and part of the principle behind all those movies is something that I always have in my mind. That is, when I was on the radio, I was doing really well, and of course, I have friends that were doing really well, or I have sponsors who have plenty of money. What I'm saying is I was in contact with people who was wealthy and loaded in Spain at one point. And I remember a lot of those people went on vacation. I came back and they were saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe I've been in a place that I didn't have to use the cell phone. Oh, they don't have internet. It was great. Oh, I have in a place that they don't have running water. I've been 2 weeks without taking a shower. We just went on the river." That I said, "You know what? You've been playing poverty.
right.
The only thing is poverty with dignity is a great life." Because you have time to talk to your wife, you have time to sit down and look at the sunset, you have time to do your own gardening. That's called poverty. If you don't have a shower, and if you don't have access to transportation, and you don't have universal health care, but you have universal health care and a shower and dignity, man, this is a great life. So it's not so difficult to get out of poverty. All we need is a little bit of dignity and a shower. And you change the whole thing. But here we are.
Well, so poverty with dignity and family and stuff. This is a big theme. I saw the film that's showing on Sunday. What's it called?
It's called Invisible Monster.
Right. So I watched that twice because it's really just amazing.
Because it's short.
Because it's short, and my attention span is short. But it's a beautiful film, and it deals with poverty, and the people have dignity, and they have family. And how did that thing get made?
Well, that was 2018 when an NGO called Action Against Hunger, the chapter of Spain, approached my brother as a filmmaker, and I came in the package because I worked with my brother and
That's Javier.
Javier in many projects. And they said, listen, by now, hunger should be a problem that should be completely abolished in the whole planet. We have studies from United Nations, for UNESCO, from whoever, the United States and the European Union, and it should have been done, and we're not even close to finish that. So we're afraid that we're not explaining properly what the problem is, and that's why people are not getting, are not providing a solution. Why don't we start with a fresh eye instead of trying to change the ideas in international forums, United Nations against whatever? Why don't we go to schools? We go to middle schools and we tell kids, about this program, about this problem. We create a project, a movie. If you can shoot a movie, that can be discussed in class, and then we can open a debate. And hopefully in 10, 15, 20 years, some of those students will come with a different approach, a different idea.
Right.
So with that in mind, that was a film for kids. We looked into the projects that they were working around the world, and we decided to go for many reasons to the Philippines. We were there scouting for a couple of weeks. We fell in love with the people in this dump field, and then we came back
A dump field.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then we lived with them for a month and filmed it. And we didn't have any budget. There were 5 people from Spain, my brother and myself, Javier and I. We were the writers and directors. There was a producer, there was a cameraman, and there was a soundman. And everybody was helping everybody to do whatever we need to do.
And was all of the talent found right around this dump field?
Yeah.
So this is a place where like trucks from the cities go out and they unload all of their garbage, and people are picking through the garbage for their sustenance.
Yeah, there's a yellow truck who comes every day, and that we call it Amazon.com. They call it a yellow truck because in that truck comes everything they use. They come the food, comes the clothing, and it comes the material they use to build their houses, and it comes their toys. Anything that they need comes in this.
One man's trash is another man's trash.
Exactly. And including the food, but it's really hurtful to see the kids having the leftovers of fast food.
It is to this Western viewer anyway to see kids picking garbage out and saying, "Oh, that looks good," and just putting it up to their mouths and eating it. It's tough. That's one of the toughest parts of that.
It's very tough. But back to what I said before, I was thinking, what's the difference between this place and the recycle center that we have here in Kingston, New York?
Right.
Next to and again, the and clean. I mean, the people there, they get paid, they have gloves, and they take a shower after they finish, but they have to deal with the same garbage.
Right.
So this is not so, I mean, to solve the problem, you really want to solve the problem. It's not so complicated. But anyways, what we did there is for a week we have to. Be talking to the people and let them know what we wanted. It's like, hey, we're not coming here to make a documentary and show the world that you're, horrible people living a horrible life, and we should all have pity about you. We're gonna show the world that you're great people, that you have a culture that is very cool, and that you're nice people, and that you don't deserve to live like that. And hopefully they will find a way to help you. And said that, every single house was open for us. Every single transportation was open. The whole village. So I felt like closer to God because it's like, I mean, as a director, I would say a motorcycle will close and say, hey, wait. And the guy will, whatever. Oh, should I pass again this way 3 times? I stayed here 2 hours. Come tomorrow. You need my mom. Should I? Unbelievable. But we don't have actors. So what we did is we took notes for 2 weeks about stuff interviews that we did. And we decided, okay, this landscape is beautiful, or the story of this person is nice, or that guy has beautiful eyes, and all that pieces of puzzle were written down on a notebook. And then we decided once we want it, we created. That's the narrative. Otherwise, it's all reality because nobody's acting. We film people doing what they do.
Right.
But then those pieces of life with a voiceover. We make a story that is not true. We say my father is not his father. My sister is not his sister. But that girl is doing what that girl is doing.
The performances were all just amazing.
Yeah, well, they're doing themselves. They're not doing anything else. I mean, there's maybe a 10% of a staging. It's like, I mean, when possible, of look here or look there, or say that again this other way.
And the overhead shots were just nuts. Like the perspective on this dump. It was amazing.
Yeah, the cinematographer who's the guy who drives the drone, God, we made him suffer because, I mean, if anybody who's been in one of those, countries underdeveloped, I mean, everything is a mess, and there's wires all over the place, and debris, and so try to. Make a drone fall on a truck is not easy because there's so the guy was like going up, down, through cables, through wires, through a window, through this, and it was funny seeing him shooting like, oh my god, it was so funny.
That's amazing. So how did you find that spot?
Well, that spot is part of a project of Action Against Hunger. Actually, in that spot, lives the invisible monster. We call it the invisible monster because it's the hunger that is chronic hunger. It's hunger that you don't see.
Right.
I mean, it's not the hungry that you can see in a documentary of Kenya or Biafra or something, that with poor kids with a stomach swollen and a fly in the eye and skeletons almost. No, this is normal people like you and me that are actually hungry, and you don't know they're hungry. And I guarantee you, in Rhinebeck, New York, we have people like that.
Yeah.
Because I see people going to the pantry that I never thought, to the church that I never thought they needed
Right.
to go there. But you will never know. You will never know because they're not really thin. They're not like dying of starvation. But every single day they go to bed a little hungry. And the problem with kids when they go hungry and they're 6 is like they don't go to their maximum development, and they're gonna be handicapped for the rest of their lives, and that's horrible. They're gonna be in their lives limited in many ways, and it's so sad. And
Because it's going to have developmental repercussions, not getting enough nourishment.
Exactly. So we wanted to do it there because you don't see it, and we wanted you to feel it. We wanted the kids in the schools, and in Spain, over 500,000 children already saw the film and already started the debate. And we now are in an international circuit of festivals, and thanks to that, we won an award in Turkey, so we're in the schools in Turkey. We won an award in Poland, so we're in the schools in Poland, England, name it, Germany, South Africa. But hopefully, because we are now part of the possibility of, we make the list to be considered for the Oscar. If any publicity like that, if anybody hear about that, if a teacher is listening to this interview right now, maybe she or he will say, "Oh, what is the film? Maybe I'll show it to my school. Maybe we'll start having the film in the schools in America. It'll be phenomenal."
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Well, we'll start right here in Rhinebeck. We'll get it shown in the
That'd be
schools
great.
here.
That'd be great.
Yeah, excellent. We're definitely going to make that happen.
Yeah. Okay.
So this particular piece of art you made, you had a goal for it to help people understand hunger that's out there and maybe be moved to take action.
Yeah,
Am I
because you know
saying
what, the problem with poverty is like we live in the last maybe 4 years through, and I think Reagan started that in the United States and Margaret Thatcher in England, and they exported to all over the countries. And the idea that the poverty is a crime, and the poor people are lazy, and they're the ones who they create their own. Ronald Reagan created this phrase when he's talking about homeless by desire. He decided that they wanted to be homeless. They're lazy. They don't want to work. They want to be. They rather have drugs than work, and that's their problem, by desire. So it's actually people got it like, okay, because it's really easy. If it's not my problem, if you want to be homeless, if you want to be. It's your problem, man. So I don't have any responsibility. It's great.
Right.
But if it's a social problem, maybe I'm gonna feel a little guilty because I should do something. So it's not convenient.
That's an interesting perspective. The license to not take that problem on is anything you should be concerned about.
Exactly. But again, now it's so obvious in this country. There's a plague of homelessness in this country. I've been in Seattle recently. It broke my heart. I've been in El Paso, Texas. It broke my heart. I've been in Denver, Colorado. It broke my heart. It's in New York City. It's D.C. Washington. It's unbelievable. There's homeless all over the place. It's in your face.
Yeah.
You cannot say that it's 15 or 20,000. No, it's in your face. So
Right.
I think that creates a reaction. Creates a reaction, and here we are with the hope that people, and the new generation, believe in that. That's not admissible. It's gonna happen. I don't know, but it's gonna happen.
And food insecurity here in the U.S. Like a massive amount, like 50% of American families not sure they're going to have enough food to feed their families.
But listen,
next week.
listen to you. The system is so perverse, and it's called hunger, but no, it's food insecurity.
Well, it's a blanket.
It's exactly. But that's what it is. It's like because it's food insecurity again. It's not so bad. It's not so bad.
It's hunger if you're the person.
Yeah.
Food insecurity, which sounds terrible to me if you're the government or policymakers are discussing that. But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's hunger personalizes it more than that phrase food insecurity.
Oh yeah, it's pure hunger. It's pure hunger.
So this piece, tell us about the showing. It's showing on Sunday at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. in Upstate Films. It's brief. It's half an hour, so that's the good news. And then I'm gonna be there for Questions and Aid, another half an hour. So in an hour we'll be done.
Can't wait. I got
But
tickets.
the good news too is like, yeah, we're talking about hunger, about a problem that is really, I mean, obtuse and grave and tough. But the movie is comedy. If you can believe that you can, tell a story in a way that people shouldn't laugh, but I mean can have a smile, because the main characters are sweet and nice, and that was our point. It's like if the children see that other children who are nice and funny are suffering hunger or food insecurity, they ain't gonna ask themselves, why are these guys suffering that? They don't deserve to suffer that, because they're not like criminals, or they're not like bad people. They're not like
Right.
boring guys
Right.
or bullies. They're nice people.
Still, I think people manufacture this separation between them and the other, and it's a tough hurdle to get over.
Yeah.
And this film, there's a lot of empathy in there.
But that's what I mean. I'm saying if people want to come to Upstate Films on Sunday, they're gonna have a good time. I don't want people to think, oh my God, I don't want to go because they're going to suffer. It's going to be horrible.
Right.
They're going to tell me that the whole world is finishing. I have enough with Trump and other things. I don't need any more. No, you're going to have a good time. It's a nice movie. They're nice kids. They're funny. And you can smile. And that's what happened with my show, Goma Espuma in Spain. I mean, we were talking about tough stuff. We're going through years of terrorism. We're going through years that were very tough. We were going with a smile, man. We were having such a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's you don't like your job. You don't come home and kick out the dog. It's two different stories.
Right. It's just an amazing film, and the characters are all so good. I've got a technical question. You weren't making wind there. You found wind for some of these scenes, which are just so beautiful. I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, it's windy, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice, yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, well, that's one of the
scenes.
things about Asia is the kites. It's something that is, I mean, I guess we all have kites, but I mean, when you go east, one of the first things that you start seeing, and that's in Iran, that's in Afghanistan, that's in China, that's in the Philippines, that's in Indonesia. You see kites on the sky. That's just,
Right.
It's a very, I don't know if it's a connection of the people with something up there. They like the smoke too, but I don't know. Somehow, or maybe it's very cheap in this case. I mean, the kites come in Amazon.com in the yellow truck every day, plastics,
Right.
Little sticks or something, and a little bit of thread, and they made a kite in 5 minutes.
Well, your fantasies take flight.
And exactly,
That's
or your
sort of what you
exactly.
show so beautifully in this movie.
yeah.
Everybody should go see it. It's upstatefilms.org.
Yeah.
If people go there, they can find it. But also,
They can get a ticket there. Yeah, they go to special events and they see, Sunday 1 p.m.
Yeah.
The Invisible Monster.
And I watched the film. At the end of it, there was a URL for this organization. What was it called? actionagainsthunger.org. And people can go there. That's the organization that this film is connected with.
Yeah, we like the good news is every single award that we get, many of them come with some money. Normally when you do short films, normally people who are starting the movies and they need help and for production, so you get an award and maybe you get $10,000 or
Right.
or $5,000 or $10,000 for your next movie or for whatever, and all that is being donated to this project, to these people.
Right.
Like one of the things I'm really proud today is I can say that 1 year after shooting the movie there, those people have running water.
Amazing.
They didn't have running water. And running water, you think about it, is like those kids that you're going to see in the movie. Whoever sees the movie on Sunday, whoever sees it after that on the internet is going to be on the open for everybody. Those kids are taking showers now. And those moms are cooking the rice with running water. It makes a big difference.
Right.
So if only that.
Just amazing. I mean, if you help one person, that's a home run. And this thing seems like it's got the potential to help a lot of people.
Yeah, hopefully, in in changing the mentality about or the eyes of the way we look at hunger. And I always think that if we are able to change our point of view from the field of charity to the field of justice, everything is much better understood. The opposite of hunger, let's put it that way, the opposite of poverty is no wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice. And when you understand that, the whole game changes. When you understand that I'm hungry, oh, here's a banana. No, man, I need a clean shirt because I have a job interview tomorrow. If I go like that, I will never get it.
Right.
So it's not about my talent. Can you give me a clean shirt, or can you give me access to a shower? Can you? So it's justice. It's social justice, and that's why I believe in the future of this country and many countries, because I think the young generation believe in social justice. They're much more open-minded about gender. They're much more open-minded about ethnicity. They're much more open-minded about ideas. They're much more open-minded about jobs and how to work and why not. And that's hope, because that means they're in the social justice field instead of on the self-centered field that we've been stuck for a long time. Too long.
Right.
Too long.
That's just a sentence like 60 seconds ago. I loved that so much. The opposite of poverty is justice. That's a beautiful sense. That really.
Thank you. But I think
really
it can change the way of looking at many things.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I've got more questions. Back to the radio show you had for 15 years. You had a partner.
I have a partner, Juan Luis. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have so much fun, man. I love radio. I think radio is a warm media.
Yeah.
I think people who listen to radio, they're seeking company. There are people who are lonely, maybe no lonely, maybe they don't have a lonely life, but they have a lonely afternoon.
Right.
Or they have a lonely hour, or they want to be alone for an hour, but they're alone. And it's not something that you listen in company with your family, the radio. No, it's something that is very intimate. It's almost like meditation. So when I realized, and I was lucky to realize that early in my life, because I have friends who haven't realized that yet, and I think they're going to die without realizing that, and whatever. I think they lose a lot of opportunities. When you realize that radio is not about impressing the audience, it's about moving the audience, the whole thing makes you relax, makes you to be yourself, it makes you to prepare good stories instead of a lot of data. And people have music shows and they want to impress because they know that Mick Jagger, when he was 18, he actually had a mustache, and no, it wasn't. And it's not about that, man. It's about, think about it. I tell you tomorrow that I won the Oscar, and you say, oh, great, whatever. 2 years later, it's like, he won. It was the Emmy. But if I give you a hug the day that your mom dies, you won't forget about me.
Right.
So radio is like that. Radio is moving.
So do you listen to the radio now?
Not as much as I used to. Not really.
In the car?
Yeah, in the car I do. But it drives me crazy here because. I guess I should subscribe to that internet thing, whatever it's called, right? That you don't lose the stations. But it drives me crazy because I like really shows like that, like the one we're having here with people having conversations and stuff like that. And there's not so many in this country. There's not so many. A lot of preachers, a lot of Jesus.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy because at least if you're going to talk about Jesus, do your research. Jesus didn't create the world. It was the Father. I know Americans want to kill the father, they don't want the king, and they want Jesus to be the brother and the neighbor. But again, Jesus didn't create the world, and there's so much about Jesus that is like, oh my God, it's like.
Well, traveling across the U.S., I assume you flew out to Seattle for whatever you're doing out there, but when you drive across the U.S., it's just amazing to listen to all of the radio, and a lot of it is Christian broadcasting stuff.
Yeah, that's what. One of the things that I realized in the first years when I moved here, I realized that this country wasn't founded in the name of freedom. It was founded in the name of religious freedom, and it makes a very different story. Makes a very different story. I mean, the founders were like acolytes and nuns and priests and
Right.
everything there, and that's why we have a lot of weird communities there. We're still, don't like the dance, don't like the drink, don't like this, don't like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people justify things in the name of stuff that is
Oh boy.
been outdated 2 centuries ago.
Yeah, a lot of people justify stuff that I think like, okay, Jesus is rolling over in his grave, like seeing what is being justified in his name.
Well, because the idea here is like if I don't accommodate to Jesus, Jesus will accommodate to me. So you go and you have in the church Jesus is fat and has a Harley Davidson. In other church,
Right.
Jesus smokes a cigarette. Another, I mean, it's like
Other churches, Jesus is going to bring you wealth.
exactly.
Impossible riches. Now, I assume you were raised Christian in Spain.
Yeah, Catholic, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Family of 9 siblings.
9 siblings.
One of 9, and my father was 8, and my mother was 5. So a lot of cousins, a lot of
Right.
my close family. My mother's close family were 70. So
My goodness. I can't even imagine. And so of those 9,
it's fun.
you keep in touch with all of them?
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Varying
we went
degrees,
to Spain in June, and Sarah said, call my mom and say, hey, spread the news. We're here. We're going to be here for a week. Whoever wants to come for dinner, tell them to come. And we didn't know how many people were going to show up for dinner. We just came from the States, and we bought stuff just in case. In Spain, we're very accustomed to improvise. We're not afraid of. But anyway, 33 people show up for dinner in our house that night.
And all right, 2 questions. What in the world did your mother cook to feed 33 people? And the second question is, what's the dish your mother cooked when you were younger that you crave all the time? You're coming home, you're like, oh, Mom, make this.
Oh, yeah, patatas con chorizo, and that's what there's still the grandchildren want.
Potatoes with the sausage.
With the chorizo sausage.
Yeah.
That is, that's amazing, and it's so easy and it's so good, and everybody loves it.
And nobody cooks like Mom.
Then you need a baguette to go on the sauce, and that's the kind of food that we love in Spain when you can use the bread too.
Right. But they don't call it a baguette there, do they? What's it?
No, barra.
Barra.
Una barra.
All right, good. And so when last time you went, 33 mouths to feed, what does your mom cook for everybody?
No, my mom didn't cook. Sarah cooked for. We invited over in our place. When we were here, we were renting our apartment there, but now we decided that we're going to go back and forth more. I have to work there. Why not? So we recouped our apartment, and everybody can squeeze, no problem. And
Why do you have to work there more?
I'm involved with. I'm going to go back to filming. I did a little bit of filming in my life, and I'm going to be shooting a series for Amazon in Spain. It's going to be very exciting.
Oh, cool.
And I'm in the process of writing right now, but I mean.
Amazing. And do you think of yourself mostly as a writer?
I think of myself mostly as a journalist. And
Okay.
That's what I am. I'm a journalist a part of being a journalist is the curiosity, and because I'm curious, I met people who do something different, and I get so excited, and I try to do it myself. But I know my thing is journalism, and I always go back to journalism.
That's great. And so how do you feel now? You're 61. You'll be 62 in May of this coming year.
Mm-hmm.
Just we're the same age. How do you feel creatively? I mean, you've been in a creative profession for your entire life. You must think about your brain and how it works, and how the synapses have benefited you as in your career. How's your brain doing?
I feel great, and I feel very fortunate. I didn't expect to be able to tell you now that I'm 61 after 12 years in this country that I'm doing that for Amazon.
Right.
I was expecting to be forgotten in Spain for the staff and not known here.
Right.
But the good news is, for some reason, the series is going to be based on an episode that happened in Spain in the 60s in an American base. So I'm writing a story in my country, in my childhood, about Spain and the United States. So I'm putting together all my life, and it's so exciting, and I'm so happy about it.
Sounds kind of dreamy. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And we're just out of time. Thank you so much for being here, Winifred, and for bringing this delicious drink. And thanks for being here and correcting me if I'm Norm. I'm your host, Norman. I just want to thank Matt Rosenberg, who made all this possible, Patricia Wind, who's loaned us this beautiful nook in the back of the Epicurean here in downtown Rhinecliff, and also Chris Smith Hedges here at the Epicurean, who always helps us out with all kinds of details. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.